before we move on with our Lyceum. We have two pretty important events coming up next week. The first one that starts next Monday is the canned food drive. You're hearing all about it in your houses and orders. Let's try to break that record of over 20,000 items. That would be fantastic. Here we have 5 special items that you're going to bring each day. You'll see these signs around the school, so make note of that. Your houses and orders will be getting points for that, figuring that out. And then at the end of the week, we're going to celebrate all that we've been given with gratefulness through a party, a family fall harvest right here at the school yet again, celebrating 5 to 7 Saturday, a catered meal, hot wild, free dinner. Come, have fun. Okay. Now, it is with great honor that I pass the mic over to our 8th grade couple, 2 8th grade captains who will be the MC hosts of our Lyceum today. So please welcome Anna Robson and Maren.
Hi everyone, welcome to our Character Education Assembly. The junior high order system has put together the Character Lyceum for the Capstone virtue that we call Patriotism. My name is Anna Robeson, and I am the 8th grade order captain for Delphi.
And I am Samara McBride, and I am also the 8th grade order captain for Delphi. We are both very happy to present this Character Lyceum on Patriotism, because we have some very special events planned for you and an amazing speaker.
To start, we will have the Young Marines Color Guard present the colors.
Let's stand and welcome with utmost respect the Young Marines Color Guard.
Hello everybody, my name is Julianna, and I'm the Order System Secretary. Please direct your attention to the flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Now let's welcome Mr. Wallace, who will perform the national anthem.
Present arms. Present colors. Post it,
Thank you to the Young Marines Color Guard for presenting the colors. Now, I also get to introduce a special part of our American Assembly, the Patriotism stories. These stories are just a way to show how any citizen can step up at any time to show their patriotism. To begin, please welcome Ms. Lily Ledoux. Thank you, Lily. But to finalize our stories for today, we have someone you've already seen showing her patriotism, Miss Audrey Greenacre.
Hi, I'm Audrey Greenacre, one of the Order Captains of Valhalla. The Young Marines is a program for ages 8 to 18 that helps build leadership skills, discipline, and teamwork. I wanted to join it for the opportunities that I'd be able to do, such as honoring and serving our veterans, retiring of the flags, and color guards. The retiring of the American flag is a ceremony which we take seriously. After a flag is no longer fit for service, we burn the flag in order to honor it. This ceremony is when we take a symbolic flag and we fold it. Each fold symbolizes a belief, like the first fold symbolizes life, and the second fold represents a belief in eternal life. Then we unfold it and put it into a fire pit. Color guards are when we present the flags for major events such as sporting events, flag retirements, and 5Ks. During the color guard, when we are performing the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem, you saw us lower every flag except for the American flag. This is because we are honoring and showing our patriotism and gratitude towards this flag holding. Since this flag represents our country, we need to respect it because it shows everything we stand for. Having this flag demonstrating our country and its freedom, it is our duty to raise it up and lower it down every day. I got the opportunity to participate in the color guard for the Wellington 4th of July parade. Not only were we one of the first ones to start the parade, but we also got to show our patriotism to the town of Wellington. It was stressful, but we were honored that we were able to do it. In the Young Marines, or anywhere else, our display of patriotism is very important when honoring the American flag in our country.
Thank you, Audra, for your inspiring show of patriotism. In order to continue with our character Lyceum, we'd like to tell you a little about patriotism. In the dictionary, the simple definition says that patriotism is love that people feel for their country.
The full definition says that patriotism is love for or devotion to one's country.
These definitions give us an idea of what patriotism is, but they don't tell us how to show our patriotism. Our own school has a definition for patriotism, and so far, it is the only one that implies that patriotism is not only a feeling, but it is also an action.
LCHS says patriotism is being dedicated to that for which the Republic stands. By this definition, patriotism is devotion and dedication to the values our country upholds, looking beyond our personal interests to safeguard the greater good for which the Republic stands. In the case of the United States, all people are created equal and free, and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are natural rights which the Republic works tirelessly to protect.
All of us are trying to learn what patriotism looks like in action, but some of us have already they figure it out. We'd like to call our presenters for the junior high and high school Capstone Award. Please welcome Dr. Gerson and Mr. Mayer.
I am honored today to be able to present the Junior High Capstone Award to Seija and Maren. When teachers are asked to write notice of recommendation, the thing that you're supposed to talk about is, how is your class different if this person isn't there? Well, if Seija is not in the class, the energy level is about 5 orders of magnitude lower. Seija is always cheerful, she's always enthusiastic, she's always applauding other students for their work, and she always has her hand up. She's one of these people that you have to tell, let somebody else answer a question. You know, you've done enough for 10 minutes anyway. Seija's always trying to help other people. She's always trying to be someone who's supportive of other people. When we had our capstone voting last week, 2 people were supposed to speak on her behalf. I was one of them since I was the nominator. Somebody else was called upon. And then, like everybody else in the room, starts saying, oh, don't forget, you know, I need to say something quickly. So she's that kind of person. She impresses everybody as being somebody who truly wants to help, truly wants to be good, truly wants to be enthusiastic. And so, as a result, I get to present you with this plaque saying that you won the award. Welcome. You get this very heavy copy of the Book of Virtues, and everybody will excuse me if I say the absolute best thing that will give you is this gift certificate to the cold stove.
Hi, I'm Mr. Mayor, and I have the distinct honor today of presenting the Capstone Award for the fall semester 2013 to Julie Kramer. It is an honor to nominate Julie for the Capstone Award. She quite simply is a paragon of wisdom. Her pursuit and her embodiment of wisdom can be seen through both her public and private actions. Her leisure time is spent in thoughtful contemplation. Instead of filling her off hours with the normal pursuits of her peers, she continually chooses edifying pursuits. Not only does she fill her days with continual practice of musical instruments and the tuning of pianos, the books that she chooses to read in her spare time also demonstrate that she has a fervent desire to pursue both truth and goodness. Last March, she showed me, for example, one of the many books that she reads in her spare time. She was halfway through A Spy in the Third Reich, a novel about Fritz Kolbe, an individual who softened the moral rod of Nazism and as such dedicated his life to undermining Hitler by collaborating with American spy masters and military officials. When asked why this book appealed to her, she mentioned that she found World War II interesting, but also that she hoped that she could display the same kind of courage that underlay Fritz. To me, that's compelling evidence of someone who is interested in developing both fortitude and justice in pursuit of a higher purpose. So to commemorate her achievement today, we're going to give her 3 flexes. Flex number 1, a gift card for Cold Stone, anything out of $50 to $100. I don't know how much that is. The second flex for her is going to be a copy of Nicolaki Ethics. Now, there are thousands of these books in circulation, but there's only one of them that is autographed by yours truly. I'm going to come in finally, there's this plaque. I have no idea what's on the plaque. I hope it says edifying things. I'm going to give it to her on blind faith. You can put it over your house. One more big round for Miss Julie Kramer.
Mr. Vedder was born in the USA sometime in the last century. His family moved to Ohio and he grew up near Cleveland. He went to the University of Michigan where he graduated as a meteorologist. After graduating, he joined the Air Force and he served for 21 years. He was assigned to 8 different bases such as Simbach and Oxford in Germany. His favorite was Omaha in Nebraska. While in the Air Force, he earned his MBA and moved up through the ranks due to his commitment and devotion to serve. Upon retirement, he was honorably discharged at the rank of major. While in the Air Force, he also served as an instructor in the weather school. This is where he found his love for teaching. His teaching career began in Craig, Colorado, then Wisconsin, and finally Colorado, where he settled in Liberty Common School 22 years ago. Since then, everything has been better with
Better!
Mr. Vedder rocks. You are sure to hear classic rock playing in his booth, and at times he is known to play with rocks. He is known for creatively demonstrating to the administration that carpet in science classrooms is a bad idea, because carpets might start a fire. Mr. Vedder is known to have his head up in the stars and leading students into a dome tent where they can have their heads up in the stars. You might also find him playing in the water, be it in the classroom or on a lake, doing his best to tease the fish. When he is not hurting kids, he's hurting dogs, whom he dearly loves. Let's do this tsunami to welcome Mr. Vedder.
Thank you. That pretty much covers everything. So this is going to go off in a few minutes, and there's a reason that I have it. I'll get to that. So I was going to start off with a definition of patriotism, but they've already done that. But I do like to quote from Adlai Stevenson, who was, he ran for president a few times, was a U.S. ambassador at the UN. He said, patriotism is not short, frenzied outbursts of emotion, but the tranquil and steady dedication of a lifetime. So, love of your country, dedication towards America, that's what patriotism is about. You don't have to do something big or famous like that to be patriotic. You can do stuff in your everyday life. Like thank a veteran, removing your hat when the Star Spangled Banner is played, saying the Pledge of Allegiance with your heart over your hand. You can dedicate yourself to the task of serving others. That would be patriotic. For me, that started after I graduated from college. But first, I want to set the stage for what the world was like back then in the other century. There was a Cold War going on. There was no battle going on. It was us against the Soviet Union, as Ronald Reagan referred to as evil empire. We were busy collecting nuclear weapons. We had probably, both countries had enough weapons to destroy each other about 4 times. And we had these weapons ready to launch and waiting for the other side to make the wrong move. We were on the brink of World War III. We had bombers, we had missiles. And for the military, there was a mandatory for almost every male in this country had a mandatory 2-year military service. You did that either when you graduated from high school or graduated from college. There were some exceptions to that. So for me, I didn't want to go in the Army. And as you heard, I had a degree in meteorology and I knew the Air Force needed weather guys. So I put in my 2 years and be done. So after basic training, my first assignment was in Loring Air Force Base on the northern tip of Maine. Got a little bit of snow there. Like 110 inches a year on average. While I was up there, they were B-52s, the big B-52 bombers up there, as well as tankers and some other some fighter jets. The B-52s are, there were 8 of them that were always on alert. That means they were sitting on the runway, loaded with the fuel. The actual nuclear bombs were on those planes and their routes and missions to where they were going to go on the other side of the world. So these planes were sitting there, and the crews for these planes couldn't be more than 5 minutes away. So they had their own barracks to live getting there and getting off in a certain short period of time. This became a little tricky when they had snow, like when I forecasted that we're going to have 18 inches of snow, and they looked at me and said, "You got to be kidding me." Yeah, we had it. I was lucky that one. So from there, a lot of people are going to Southeast Asia, being honest with you. It's hot, humid, buggy, people shooting at you. I go, that's not for me, maybe for a Marine, but not for me. So I volunteered for Thule Air Base, Greenland. That was 800 miles from the North Pole. Not a lot of people did that. I got up there, and there we were supporting the ballistic missile early warning system. Had these huge radars that were looking over the horizon towards the north. So if the Russians were going to launch something, it was going to leave, come over the poles, and come down to the U.S. These systems were there to detect any such a launch. While I was up there, there was the Armed Forces Television Network. I was the TV weatherman for anybody in Thule Air Base, Greenland. So it was always better weather would better. Or if it was raining, it was wetter weather would better. Or if it's snowing, whiter weather would better. It was also interesting, the sun kind of did one of those things in the summer, never set, and in the winter, never came up. That took a little getting used to. But seeing the support, supporting those B-52s, and the ballistic missile early warning system convinced me that I wanted to stay and make a career out of the Air Force. By the way, B-52 is so big that the Wright brothers' first flight from takeoff to landing was shorter than the wingspan of a B-52. So that's, figured. And the last one they built was 1967. They're still flying. That's a heck of an airplane. So anyway, obviously I didn't become a pilot. My eyesight would not permit that. So a lot of us in the Air Force we're there to support those who fly and fight. I support the Air Force. I also supported the Army. My second last assignment was in Seija Air Base, Germany. That was another reality check because it wasn't that far on the other side of the border. There were 20 armored Soviet divisions lined up. We had 5 on our side, and 20 on their side. I got to go to Berlin, which was at that time in East Germany. We had a special train to get there through East Germany, and to see the wall. That wall in Berlin was quite impressive. So it was because of our will and our strength and our patriotism that those Russians stayed on that side and we stayed on this side. So as you heard, I also taught in the Air Force at the weather school, and I really loved it. Of course, the classroom discipline a little different in the Air Force. They're getting paid. But I consider teaching as a patriotic job. I'm serving society, I'm educating youth, I'm hopefully setting an example of a patriotic person. I'm proud of the service that I did, but it's not for everybody. You however, can serve and show your patriotism by respecting those people who are on active duty, reserve, or retired. You can also do it by saying the pledge, which we already did. Now, the pledge has become, for a lot of you, a rather monotonous saying of words. I've seen people doing the reading off the pledge and looking down and looking at their notes or checking something on their desk. When we said the pledge here, there were some guys up here that were looking at each other, laughing and joking. And Dr. Penny's looking at them now. We won't mention any names. So, the pledge started, became official 1942. It officially became known as the Pledge of Allegiance in 1945. And what I'd like to do is go through the pledge piece by piece and explain to you what it means. We start out with I pledge allegiance. I as an individual pledge allegiance. Allegiance is devotion. Devotion to a cause. In our case, devotion to our country. To the flag. This flag is a symbol of freedom around the world. It's freedom for everybody because of our loyalty and our devotion. Of the United States of America, separate but united in the love for our country. One nation. We are one country. Under God. Now, the original pledge did not have that phrase in it. That didn't come about until 1954. In 54, on Lincoln's birthday, President Eisenhower, president at the time, went to an Illinois church and sat in the pew that Abraham Lincoln sat in. And the preacher, the pastor, George Dougherty, to give you an idea of what it was like in the Cold War, when Dr. Gerson came up here and started to present his award, if the Russians had launched a missile at that time, they just landed. At 17 minutes from launch to landing, which would have, of course, ended our civilization as we know it. That was the threat we were under. Not a lot of people knew that. But that's one of the things that convinced me that I needed to do it. Okay, back to this. So Eisenhower was listening to this presentation, and this pastor said, he argued that the nation's might lay not in its arms, but rather in its spirit and higher purpose. He noted that the pledge could be used for any nation. What was missing was a characteristic and definitive character in American life. So, I lost my page here. There it is. He cited the words under God that Lincoln used in the Gettysburg Address. At the end of this address, Lincoln said, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. That impressed Eisenhower. They entered legislation, and it became law on Flag Day, 1954. So that was under God. Indivisible. We are one country that cannot be divided. With liberty, this is the power to live one's own life without threats or fear of retaliation. Injustice, dealing fairly with others. For all, this is as much your country as it is mine. So, with that new view, please stand and let's say the pledge one more time. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have a seat. I was going to end it there and get a standing ovation. So Friday is Veterans Day. Veterans Day is the 11th month, 11th day, 11th hour in 1918. And Mr. Holden, I wasn't there. That was the armistice that ended the war, the end all wars of World War I. In 1919, they started Veterans Day on that 11th day of the 11th month. So that's where Veterans Day came from. So
the weather channel for the army? Were you the only guy, or were there multiple other people?
Keep going. It's good now.
Hello. Well, it wasn't for the Army, it was the Air Force. And I was the only weather guy, but there was a TV, there was a news guy and a sports guy. And if they didn't want to watch me on TV, they could turn their radio on. There was only one radio station, and now the simulcast on the radio station, so they had to listen to me then too.
While you were in Greenland, did you ever see the Northern Lights?
No.
Do you know how they work? Can you explain what they are?
Northern Lights, that's the lights you put on the north side of your house, isn't it? The Northern Lights are when solar wind comes in the Earth's magnetic field, drags it in, particles into the atmosphere, and they heat up the oxygen and nitrogen in the air. But that works around the magnetic North Pole. I was too far inside that circle. I saw absolutely no Northern Lights at all. I saw them when I was in Maine, but not there.
Did you have any life-threatening situations while you were serving?
Fortunately, no. That was a nice thing.
Question over there.
So on average, how many jokes did you make per time you were on air?
Three.
That's the questions. Give Mr. Bennett another round of applause. And now we want to know how much some of you are devoted to learning about our nation.
For that, we have a surprise game. Miss Libby Templeton, the order captain for the Order of Air Force, will direct this game.
Hi everyone, our game today is You Know More Than a New American. It requires participation for some of you. If you see your name on the screen or hear it called, please come down. So, in 7th grade, we have Charlotte's
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
I know, but Sal here wants it back. Stand next to you.
Are you ready? Okay, question number 1. What are 2 rights on the Declaration of Independence? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time.
skimmed over, but wanted to just direct your attention to be able to go outside, and our men's soccer team is going into the semifinal playoffs. And so the game is tonight at 5:30 at Jeffco Stadium, so they're going to head down here just a little bit. Let's go outside and let's give them a big send-off with the bus. Wait. So if you want to do that for 9 hours, let's totally great that we can come back in here and you can either go to your next 9th hour or you can just hang out in the Coliseum. I'm okay with that. And then tomorrow morning at 7:30, we're sending off our women's volleyball team to play in the state tournament at 7:30 in the morning.